Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I want to talk about the INFP utopia um, as presented by Benjamin Spicy. Um, he's an INTP who uh, used to make a lot of videos about INTPs and INFPs, but in this past year has been less active. Um, he made a video about an INFP utopia, or like, what if everybody suddenly in one day became everybody in the world was INFP? And it's a jokey video about, making fun a little bit of uh, what's an INFP vision of the world would be. Um, and he made another one now. There's like the revised version of his old video. I don't know. I think that I preferred the first video, but I think the second video was longer and more detailed. Also, the second video is better done, like made with, uh, you know, good filmmaking, transitions and stuff. But it was it was funny until I was like, that would never work. Um, and that's the point, is that it will never work. But I think that INFPs have a more cynical view of the world than that, unfortunately. Um, we have these ideas and we wish that the world was a certain way. I don't think that we actually, like, we know that that's not the way things would work ever, you know? And maybe our utopia, even if it did work, maybe isn't the best for us humans, you know? Um, my ex-INFP, my ex-INFJ friend, he had some ideas of like how the world should be structured, and he had constructed this whole system. I don't think the INFPs do that. We don't like construct the whole system in our heads of like what a perfect government would be like, you know? But we have a general idea of like, this is good and right, and this is like not good and right. And certain rules make no sense and all that. But I think that if you're not a teenager, if you're not a teenage INFP anymore, then you'll know that, there's not a perfect system out there. Like, a lot of INFPs, I think, turn to like communism and socialism and that kind of thing. And well, we've seen the effects of having communism is often dictatorship and people basically having no freedom, and economic ruin and such. So even though the concept of like everybody sharing and not being so tied to materialism and that kind of thing, the actual system in itself is not like well suited to humanity. So it's not like there's a simple way of like fixing the world, you know. But there are certain things where we have an idea of like, this is something that we must work on, this is something that is important, and we need to change the way that we do things. So in the Benjamin Spicy video, it was like basically overnight, INFPs like take over the world, or like everybody has suddenly become an INFP. No explanation really of how that happens. And suddenly there's no crime, there is no war, there is only compassion and helping each other, and animals are roaming out on the streets because nobody is killing animals. Everybody loves each other, and like, peace and love on planet Earth, The black and white socks are banned. Only colored socks are allowed. Um, Also, there's a shortage of internet. Like the internet has issues because everybody is on the internet because INFPs are always on the internet. Um, and at first, everybody decides to stop working. No work at all. But then, like, nothing works if nobody works. So then the INFPs get together and decide that we should all work to help each other to create a community of humanity. And um, but like the working hours are pretty great, Um, you start work at like 10 and then you finish work after a few hours only, and then you get mental health days, and you get you get understanding from your boss. Nobody ever yells or has like terrible feedback to give you that is not constructive. Um, what other silly things? Oh, also, there's no conflict in the world. There's only ghosting, which is kind of the sad side to this utopia. You can't have everything. But yeah, so because there is no conflict in the world, people resort to ghosting. And because marriage is becoming less and less of a thing, it is in decline because INFPs, you know, they they don't want to commit to anything, um, and they, in the end, everybody just has a crush on everybody, and so that is that is the state of things. There's no pollution. Pollution is outlawed. Um, but what was it? If you yelled at somebody else, you were it was a crime and you were put in prison, which is a contradiction towards the fact that there is no crime anymore. You just invented a new crime. Um, so I guess that there would be a need for law enforcement in that case, and like there would need to be constant surveillance in order to keep these things. But yeah, we're not taking into account all these things because this is a utopia. This isn't real life. Um, but I did laugh a lot about the socks. We need to have colored socks. We can't have white or black socks. And yeah, everybody's just loving each other. There's a group chat for like the entire world, basically, to like help each other in times of stress and need, which like would never work. I don't know if INFPs would even write in that group chat, or if everybody would be writing at once. Um, it's just funny to think, what would the world be like if everybody were an INFP? And like basically everything is cozy. Watching movies was like under everybody, like in the movie theater, there would be a huge blanket where everybody would be under the same blanket, which also like, how would that work? I think that a better idea would be that the movie theaters would provide you with blankets, um, and like a cozy stuffed animal. That would be pretty nice. Um, if there are certain movie theaters that like have really nice sofas and that have like that you can order food, um, but and some movie theaters that provide live music, like where they put like live music and like as the soundtrack. Um, but this would be a cozy movie theater where there would be blankets and stuffed animals. That's just my idea. His idea was that everybody had shared the same blanket, which I don't know how that would work because, well, I don't think that would be very hygienic. Also, I don't think that INFPs would want to everybody to share the same blanket, because we are pretty private, I think. But yes, in this utopia, all the architecture was beautiful. Like there would not be any ugliness in the housing in the world. Like they would keep the old buildings, but all the new buildings would be very beautiful. And as the old buildings started to phase out, then the place would look like a fantasy world with like moss on the walls and like grass roofs and you know, everything ecological, like energy conscious. I think that well, INFPs would like walk or bike everywhere, or they would like take a bus or something, but they wouldn't have private cars, unless it was like an ambulance or something like that, I guess. You know, what else are things with an INFP think up? It was also a joke about how sports would be different. You know, it would be slightly different. Of course, there are INFPs who are into sports, but there was also a new sport called like compliment competition of like who can give the best and the biggest compliments, and the greatest compliments, and they win. They have like a tournament every year, which I don't know if INFPs are that good at compliments, but we are wholesome, so I guess. And I don't know. It's nice to think about, but it probably wouldn't be that way in real life. You know, if everybody suddenly became an INFP, it would probably not be great. Also, he said that presidents would be chosen randomly, like for a month. Every month they would have a different president. But I think the INFPs just wouldn't want to be president in the first place. So how would like, I think that it would be such a burden on the INFP who is currently president at this time, and also president for an entire world, because the entire world there are no countries anymore. There are only 4 different like continents, which are Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and Slytherin, and a lot of INFPs have been Harry Potter fans, like I have been. But yeah, they like trying to strip away all patriotism while at the same time, like instead being patriotic to your Hogwarts house. I don't know if that's a good idea, but you can't rule over the entire world. That would be impossible. So you need to separate areas somehow. I don't know how that would work out, because separation by definition involves like disagreements and conflicts, which the INFPs don't want. You can't build a society based on entire consensus of the entire population, especially if there are INFPs, because INFPs are so different, have such different opinions from one another. But yes, we do have a lot of things in common. Yeah, and so I don't know. I think that everybody would have like the right to have a pet or something, or there would be these nice things around. I mean, I think that schooling would still be a thing, and healthcare would still be an issue and such. So, but I think that INFPs, we don't generally contemplate like what's politics. There aren't that many INFPs in politics. We have like ideas, and like we want certain things to improve, and we have certain causes that we want to work on. But I think that we're better suited as like activists rather than like politicians. Um, like we will advocate for like, you know, this thing is very important to me, you know. But like the actual logistics of being a politician, making decisions, um, organizing the world, um, you know, the only place that it could work is, by definition, a utopia. Um, an INFP place could not work, you know. Um, I mean, I think that there would be more harmony in the world if more people tried to um, hold on to INFP values. But we need people of other types to get things done, you know, and to provide balance. We need all the personality types. It's just that some personality types are better accommodated for in the society that we currently are living in than others. So, yeah, I don't know what would be in my INFP utopia if I was the queen of my country. I would probably not want that position in the first place. But if I had that, I would advocate for the sorts of things that Benjamin Spicy put in his video. I would advocate for world peace. I would advocate for, you know, just having a nice time, not needing to work that much. People are dying from the amount of work that they're doing. But yeah, it's not like we can escape from the ideas of the world. Like, he said that money wouldn't be a thing. But that makes things very complicated. Because the whole reason that we invented money was because it was we are so many on the planet. Like, it's hard to just have a bartering system or like a good deeds sort of system where, you know, if you're doing good, you will get good in return. That doesn't usually happen, you know. It could happen, you know, you attract, like what you put out as a world, you attract, but it's not always the case. And that would be pretty unfair for the people who are just unlucky or, you know, I guess that in this world, in this utopia, nobody would ever be taken advantage of because INFPs are not going to like take advantage of other people. But who knows? I think that people who design these sorts of systems, they think that they're pretty smart in this. And they are. But they need to realize that, you know, I'm not just saying that practically it would never work out. It's also like we have to think about the ethics about the things that we think everybody is on board with. Because maybe not everybody is on board with not working, you know, or maybe not everybody, maybe some people just want to wear black socks. And maybe that person is an INFP out there who only wears black socks. And we need to be like, this person shouldn't be thrown into prison just because he has black socks. You know, because this society has no crime. So how could you even have prisons if you don't have crime? You know, certain things contradict each other. You can't. Making a utopia is, by definition, kind of a dictatorship. You know, it's kind of coercive. You're going to be stamping on some people in order to make this utopia of yours happen. because everybody is so different. Everybody has different wants and needs and meaning in this world. So I could say, like, I feel like I'm pretty socialist, but I know that in certain cases, like, that isn't maybe the best system, or that some people will be more benefited than others, and some people will be harmed by socialist ideas. It's just like the balance of like good and bad. I choose whatever I feel is best. But maybe it's not. I mean, I could be wrong. And maybe somebody else has a better idea. But it's hard. That's the difficulty with utopias, is that it might not be a utopia for everybody. So yeah, that was those were my thoughts about INFP utopias, which is like a subject that I never knew I would want to talk about. But yeah, have a great day, everybody. Bye.